Hey, this is Pastor Dave, and this is your Monday Mojo. Hope you had a great weekend. So those of us who live in Indianapolis had a great weekend because the Indiana Pacers won the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're on their way to the NBA Finals. Exciting. And it's interesting because you can see my great shirt here, the Racers and the Pacers. I was wearing this for the games, been wearing it for all the games. And yesterday, I went to Meijer to pick up some stuff, and I was coming back out to my car, and this gentleman was coming in. I never met him in my entire life, and he goes, "Hey, they did it!" And we fist bumped, and I said, "Yes, they did." And so he walked on, I walked on. And later in the day, I got to thinking to myself, there's something about winning that brings people together, right? I mean, I didn't know this gentleman, and I'm going to tell you something about this gentleman that I wouldn't tell you otherwise, but he was an African-American gentleman. And so, we live in a country where things are different than what they used to be, but a complete stranger, somebody he didn't know, somebody I didn't know, and because I had on this shirt, because I was talking about winning, he was like, "Yeah," and because we're of the same fan base, the Pacers, "Yeah, winning, awesome, fantastic." Made me think, the fact that the Pacers were underdogs in every single series is pretty cool. They weren't favored to win against Milwaukee. They weren't favored to win against Cleveland. Everybody had all these reasons why they weren't going to win against Cleveland. They weren't favored to win against the evil New York Knicks. Sorry if you're a Knicks fan. Anyway, but they did. They won in each one of those cases. And they're not favored to win against Oklahoma City. And it'll be a tall task to do it. But they did. They won. I've been spending a lot of time lately talking about the fact that when Jesus was crucified and dead and was in the tomb, there was nobody thinking that he was going to win. Nobody. As Andy Stanley says, nobody was standing outside the tomb going, 10, 9, 8. Nobody thought he was going to win because dead bodies stay dead. Dead people stay dead. But he won. He won the victory. He won the victory of life. And there's something about that. There's something about the fact that those of us who share in that belief can kind of fist bump with each other and go, "Yeah, he did it. He did it. He won." And it makes all the difference in the world. Not just because this idea that somehow when we die we're going to get to go to heaven, but that we have victory over the evil and the death and the kind of stuff that's going on in our life today. And I don't know, when we wear that, I don't know if there's a Jesus Pacers shirt, but when we wear that truth in our lives, it becomes apparent, and we can share with each other, and we can be like, "Yeah, he did it. He did it." I guess the early church, the way they said it was, "He is risen." Someone would say, "He is risen indeed." And it makes all the difference in the world. There's something about winning that brings us together. Anyway, those are my thoughts from what happened yesterday when I was coming out of Meijer, and I shared with a guy that I've never met before, but we had something in common: winning. Have a great week.